Hi, I'm Rozlyn Warren, and welcome to the Dare to Thrive Circle Entrepreneurial Summit. Every heart-led entrepreneur I have ever met wants to know how to grow a business they love that helps people, provides financial stability, but ditches soul-sucking struggle and hustle. So I've assembled a panel of experts who have each created beautiful businesses they love, and I am thrilled to have them share their wisdom and insights with us. Today, we're chatting with the amazing Rachell Kitchen. Rachell is CEO of Level Up for Life Coach. She's a certified life and transition coach, speaker, international best-selling author. She's co-author of Women Thriving Fearless in Business. She's a contributor in Sisterhood Connection, A Year of Empowerment, and a featured expert on fast-tracking your goals using vision boards in the international bestseller, The Thing Every Mom Needs to Know. Rachell helps women entrepreneurs and professionals who are balancing a lot of plates in the air and are struggling with worry and overwhelm because they're dealing with what she calls a gremlin. This gremlin is blocking them from achieving success in either their personal or their professional life. And now she speaks, gives interviews, and has unique transformative programs to help women get clarity on what their gremlin is, how to control it so it no longer controls them, their career or business, or their life. You can see why I am so excited to be here with Rachell today. Welcome, Rachell.
Hey, Roz. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy to be here with you.
Oh, we are delighted. So I just want to jump in the pool here. Share with us the steps to growing, expanding, and thriving in life and business.
Yes. So I want to ask you and your audience, have you ever heard that saying, ignorance is bliss? We've probably said that. We've heard it, right?
Yes.
When it comes to really finding your true path and growing and expanding and thriving in every area of your life and achieving the goals that you want, ignorance is not bliss. It is not bliss. It will keep you in the dark and keep you from getting that traction that you really want and that momentum to create your best life and your best self. So the 7 steps, the very first 2 actually, focus on really getting clear from that 30,000 foot view, and then getting clear from a focused point of view. And once we are clear on where we are, then we can start to create a vision for what it is that we don't want. Because most people can tell you very succinctly, very clearly, and very definitively what it is that they don't want. But when you ask them, well, what is it that you do want? They're not always quite sure. And so then you can, from there, step into everything that is you, your power. We actually already have everything we need to create the life, business, and career that we want. We just need to step into that power. So those are some of the tools and things that I help women to do. From there, we can find success models, because life happens. Things inside of our control and outside of our control, they happen. And so that can sometimes be distracting or discouraging, but we can find success models. There are people who are doing, having, being, becoming everything that you want, and we can look to them to see their successes and how they did it. And then from there, we can dig into those opportunities for learning to discover our own success cues, our clues, because we, again, have everything we already need. We just need to suss that out, kind of do a little treasure hunt, scavenger hunt, and suss it out. And then from there, we can activate the momentum principle. And those are basically the 7 steps to grow, expand, and thrive in any area of your life.
I love it. So tell me more about I believe it was maybe step 3, where we step into being our full selves.
Yes, that was step 4, actually.
Oh, step 4.
And
Okay.
that's okay. And so step 4 is really where we get clear on what our values are. That's stepping into our own power. Get clear on what our values are and how we can live a value-based life. We get clear from what we know we want. Then we can step into, okay, what is the best route for me? Because growing and expanding and thriving for you is different for me and for the next person. And so there's no one size fit all. And what I really want to teach people is how they can create their own roadmap that is going to fulfill them up, keep them empowered and inspired to move forward and follow through on the action plans that they put in place to make all of this happen. And that's really that stepping into your power.
Do you find there is, especially with folks who are, they're either just getting started or they're stepping into the next level, there comes into play this whole not enoughness?
Oh, yes. Yes. I wrote a whole book about that.
Speaking of.
Yes, because there's this wonderful graphic, and I wish I could have shown it to your peeps, but we've heard about the comfort zone, correct? Mm-hmm. And so what really is happening is, and you've heard, everything you want is just outside of your comfort zone. And that's true. But here's the other thing. Just outside of your comfort zone is the fear zone. Mm-hmm. And that's where all of those not good enough feelings come from. I don't know what I'm talking about. Who's going to listen to me? All of those buzzwords that hold us back, stop us, or flat out stall us altogether. And that is where your gremlin, that menace of the mind, lives. That's its domain. It's got it down pat, and it knows how to keep you in there. But if you have the courage and you know, and you're stepping into your power, you can move through that fear zone into the learning zone. And here's what's happening in the learning zone. That's where you're going to discover new ways of being. That's where you're going to learn new things. And that's going to move you through the growth zone. And guess what? Your comfort zone now has expanded. And that's a rolling cycle. So whether you are new or have been at it for a while, in order to grow, expand, and thrive, you're going to go through that cycle.
I love that. And I haven't seen your visual, but in my mind, when you said that, what I was kind of imagining is, we have our comfort zone where in the comfort zone, there's all sorts of tolerations in reality. It's the comfort zone is really where, y'all know that theory of the frog, that the frog in water, if you slowly raise the temperature, that little old frog will sit right there going, it's getting warm in here until it boils, because it just gets used to where it's at. And then the idea that, and just right outside this pan, if I would just jump out of the pan, there's everything I want. But what I saw when you said that was that as you go to jump out of the pan, you're going to hit this wall, which is this, and it's also labeled the imposter syndrome. And I think all of us have run into that. It's that whole bit. What I love is as I work with entrepreneurs that are moving up, so they're not all of us that are brand new. We kind of expect to have this, but once you're established and you got momentum and you're on your way, you're still going to jump out of the pan you're in and hit that wall.
Yes.
And a lot of times, and I love this is your ignorance is bliss. The idea that it's going to happen again every single time.
Yeah.
And this is where the work we do comes in, isn't it, Rachell? Once you know it's coming, you're able to go, oh yeah, yep, that's that thing. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
love it.
Exactly.
So what did that spark for you?
You know what? I love the frog in the pan because I actually use that analogy as well. And also in that pan, we know that environment.
Mm-hmm.
We are very comfortable. There's no surprises. There's certainty. But when we jump out of the pan, like, oh, what's beyond? There's uncertainty.
Mm-hmm.
And again,
Mm-hmm.
that's where that imposter syndrome, that menace of the mind, that you've also heard it called an inner critic, but I refer to
Mm-hmm.
it as a gremlin. That's where it lives. And its main job is to get you back in the pan. where you're warm and comfy, even though it may be boiling over.
Uh-huh.
But that's its job, to get you back in the pan. But if we can get comfortable with being uncomfortable as we grow into thriving, that's what's going to keep us ever expanding, ever growing and thriving. If we just accept it's okay to be uncomfortable, and we just need to tolerate that for a little while, because then we'll get into the learning zone. It'll feel more comfortable. Then we are in the growth zone where like all these new ideas and we feel like we're living our purposes. And then guess what? The universe will throw you something else. Well, how about this? And then right back where it might be a little uncomfortable, but you're continuing to grow.
Yeah. If we could imagine, okay, I'm kind of sorry. It's really fun. This is the first time I've ever really conceptualized this. If you were a balloon and you were being blown up, would it be uncomfortable? Have you ever blown a balloon and you can see the actual, like the color is stretching and it gets a little paler as it gets bigger and bigger and bigger? But what is the purpose of the balloon? To lay there all shriveled up in a bag and be pretty, this bright red? Or is the purpose of the balloon to expand and grow and be all it could be? And if it got lucky enough to have helium, it could actually fly.
Exactly. And to bring joy to everyone that it's around and inspire. Yes.
And have you found, and you know, your clients working with them, have they found, like I have, that once you do it, which is where we coaches come in, we can help you through it. And once you navigate your way, you kind of build a little pathway there. And then eventually, you know that you're going to have the thoughts, they're going to come back. I liken it to, it's my ego is trotting out from the closet and it's carrying an old coat. And it goes, hey, anytime you get to this point, you usually wear this coat. And the coat is, who do you think you are? Aren't you, oh, my mother's favorite words, you're just a little too big for your britches there, Missy. And, you know, all that, you want to wear it again. And understanding that that's all it is. And ego the only job it has is to keep you safe, in my opinion. And so it's like, wait, you're fixing to blow up more. This time it might explode. That may not be safe. So can we put on the coat and stay small? And I found that because I've done it, 1,000,001 times, I just go, yeah, no. Well, I used to go, yeah, no, thanks. Now I go, yeah, no, and donate that coat. I don't even need to see it again. And so you will move through these faster and faster and faster. So our conversation is not here to say, well, for the rest of your business life, you're going to be slogging as a frog and banging into a wall.
Absolutely not. What it is meant to do is forewarned is forearmed.
Absolutely.
So that you do not get stalled in that place, or your best of intentions get derailed. It's like if someone you know very well showed up at your front door in a mask and you had to like, oh, Mary, I see you. That's you. Okay. You
Yeah.
know exactly what it is. And that's what I teach my clients, to recognize how their gremlin uses their unique vulnerabilities against them, and to
Mhm.
recognize it when it's coming. And it will sometimes morph, but you know exactly what it is, instead of having that knee-jerk reaction to either jump back in the pan or not do something that is not in your best interest. You can respond
Mhm.
accordingly, and in a way that is in your best interest, that's going to keep you moving forward.
Oh, I love it. So I wanted to touch a little bit on the step around using other people's success as a motivator.
Mhm.
And I know there's a lot of conversation about, I use it myself, about no comparison, just drop comparison. But to me, what you're sharing is it's a way to use comparison, if you will, but to use it as a superpower and in a very, very constructive way. So can you share more about that?
Sure. And I would say I wouldn't even look at that as a comparison, as it is getting curious about, well, how is Roz doing that thing that I want to do?
Mhm.
Who is Roz being as she's doing that thing? And getting curious about how I can use some of the things that you are doing in my own life, in my own business, to reach the place that you have. So it's not even comparing to
Mhm.
say, well, she's got this and I've got that. No, it is getting curious about
Ah,
the how, the who you're being, how are you showing up? And so how can I do that too? And using it more as an inspiration that if she can, so can I.
yes. I'm finding too that as my business moves and grows, I mean, my business is an absolute living entity. It's not me. That was a huge step forward. That my business is not me. It's a separate entity out here with its own course. I am the captain of the ship, guiding it, but it has its own attachments, its own growth. And as I look at people who have the the words that want to come out of my mouth are, I look at people who have the success that I am aiming for, if you will.
Mhm.
One of the things I'm finding as well is looking at their business structures and their business models, and then making conscious decisions, because a lot of people who we see who are, superstars, when you really look at, okay, so what's their business model? They have huge teams. They're not at home raising a baby and working 4 hours a day on nap times. And maybe the day will come where your business can support all of the things they're doing. And so putting it out as a goal, or you may decide, you know, that's really not how I want to run my business. That's not the only way to success.
Yes. And so what I would invite people to do, think of this as a smorgasbord.
Mm-hmm.
And you go through and you get the things that look great and feel good and that are going to taste good to you. And so when you walk away, your plate is filled with the things that you love, that are going to work for you with the baby in the nap time or whatever. So there's success clues out there for every level of appetite, if we're using the same metaphor. That will work, and everyone's plate, if we went through a smorgasbord, would look different. It may have a few of the same things, or not as much on one plate and more on the other. And so it's really a smorgasbord. I am a firm believer that there isn't a one size fit all business model that will work for everyone, because we are each individual spiritual beings in our own right. And so how we show up for our clients is different from the next, from the next, from the next. And that requires a different strategy, set of tools, if you will, or it's maybe the same ones, but tweaked and used in a different way.
Mhm. That's why I love that we have lived to this point in time. That just understanding our clients come to us for our energy and our essence more than anything we offer them.
Mhm.
They are drawn to us and they come into our world to be with us. And how we deliver everything, when it's an outflow of that, then it's just this beautiful thing.
Yeah.
And I wanted you to speak to number 7 again, because I wrote down momentum and I'm like, I know I want to know more about that one.
Yeah. So, and this is in my previous life, I was an industrial engineer, and I'm still kind of a techie girl.
Systems.
So momentum is just not an aspect of physics only. It's also a characteristic of our human experience, and it often gets overlooked. So here's what it's overlooked, it's underutilized and under-recognized. So here's what I mean. With momentum, you literally can do anything. Momentum is the energy that you talked about earlier, that just takes a few small steps and turns those results into something that you probably will never see coming. And momentum is not just useful, it's a game changer in your life and in your business. And so here's the deal. If you start something new or create something new or new habit, it's usually hard. It takes a little bit to get traction. But then once it's in motion, there's momentum, correct? And then that motion drives action. That action drives more momentum, and it becomes a cycle. And as you go through the actions, more and more emotion is created. That's where new ideas pop up. That's where inspiration happens. That's where things that once seemed impossible suddenly become more realistic, right? And then that's when you're really on your true path, and you're just more action creates more emotion. And that's the momentum principle. It's not just a thing for physics. It really is a thing as us as humans.
Absolutely. And from your explanation, and I know my own experience, once the momentum has started, the actions that you take are not big and momentous anymore.
Yeah.
They're just flow. That's when all this conversation we all have about being in the flow.
Yep.
So I want to hear more for a moment here about the gremlins in your upcoming book.
Yes. So this is a topic that is near and dear to me because I don't know if you guys can see it in the background, but there's a drawing back there, a drawing on my desk, and that is Rachel, my gremlin. And she's named Rachel because my name gets mispronounced. It has been my whole life, and it's just a thing. But there was a time where she was really loud in my head and had me stuck in a place where I really wasn't living up to my true potential. But when I was able to start to flip the switch on that mind chatter and understand what it really was and pull back the layers and really get to know her as well as she knew me, that's when I started to move beyond that, get out of my comfort zone. I started to grow and really expand and thrive in places and areas in my life and in my business where I never thought that it was possible. So I just know, working with other women, that there are other women out there like me whose gremlin often just stops them in their tracks. And I am just very passionate about helping other people have that same kind of breakthrough that I did. And that was one reason why I wanted to write the book. You hear, how long have we been hearing about the women's pay gap and not as many women in the C-suites, and entrepreneurs don't get the loans, and blah, 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 blah. We could go on, correct? And there are a myriad of reasons why that is. But in researching for the book, women actually, since the 80s, we've outnumbered men on college campuses. We've earned a third of the law degrees, the medical degrees. We've even have a larger share in terms of entrepreneurship, but we haven't closed those gaps. And one of the reasons that I don't think is talked about enough is the gremlin, our self, those self-sabotaging habits that are created because of the voice that is in our head.
Yeah, absolutely. So when do you plan your book to be out? We're ready.
Yes, it will launch in December of this year of
Woohoo!
2021. We just had the pre-sale, and we are so excited that we have so many people on the team wanting to share this message and help women to empower them to overcome that self-doubt and really create lives that they love. So we've got a lot of people on the team helping us do that. And the book launches in December of 2021. It'll be available on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, and other places.
What's the name?
Right now, the working title, which is going to change, it's Take Charge of Your Life, Rewire Your Brain for Confidence, Focus, and Taking Action.
Ooh, sounds like our kind of book, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Well, in the meantime, while we wait for that book to hit the shelves, Rachell, I know that you have a very special gift for the audience. Tell us all about that, please.
Yes, it is a 7-day mini e-course, the Grow, Expand, Thrive, and it actually is going to take you through little mini trainings that you can do in less than 10 minutes over the course of the 7 days. And there's some activity sheets that are going to help take you deeper in those 7 steps that I talked about to jumpstart that expansion process for you.
Well, that is super exciting because I know everyone is probably like me. Even if you're not driving, you're like, I don't have them all written down.
Yeah.
So we just pop right over and pick this up and you will have them. So friends, you can access Rachell's Grow, Expand, Thrive e-course by clicking the button right below this video. I am eager to experience it myself. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much, Rachell, for all the wonderful tips and the conversation today. It's really fired me up to see, where have I still got a toe in that warm, warm water?
Yeah.
Friends, you've been listening to Rozlyn Warren and Rachell Kitchen on the Dare to Thrive Circle Entrepreneurial Summit. All of our interviews are available to watch and enjoy all week long through September the 17th. Thank you for joining us. And until next time, believe everything is possible. Trust yourself and dare to thrive.